Ever wondered how to make the best strawberry cobbler? Welcome to a world where baking is pure joy and every step is a journey towards creating a mouth-watering masterpiece. Today, we're diving into the delightful realm of strawberry cobbler. This isn't just any recipe, it's a step-by-step guide to crafting the best, the juiciest, the most scrumptious cobbler you've ever tasted. The secret? It's all about following the recipe meticulously. Stay tuned to discover the secret to a delicious strawberry cobbler. To start off, you need to gather all the necessary ingredients. Let's kick things off with the star of the show, fresh strawberries. Their natural sweetness and tartness balance each other perfectly, making them ideal for a cobbler. Next we have sugar. It's not just for sweetness, it'll help to bring out the flavors of the strawberries. Then we have flour. It's the backbone of the cobbler topping, giving it structure and substance. Butter is up next. It contributes to the rich, crumbly texture of the topping. Don't forget about your leavening agents. Baking powder and a pinch of salt will help to lift and lighten the texture. And of course, we need a dash of vanilla extract for that extra hint of flavor. Finally, a bit of lemon zest will add a fresh twist to the mix. Now that we have all the ingredients, let's move on to the preparation process. The preparation process is just as crucial as the cooking process. Let's turn our attention to the stars of our show, the strawberries. We want to make sure they're as clean as a whistle, so let's give them a good rinse under cold water. Once they're refreshed and clean, it's time to give them a little trim. We're going to hull and halve them, ensuring we're left with perfect bite-sized chunks that'll bake beautifully in our cobbler. Next up, the dry ingredients. It's time to measure out the flour and sugar. Baking, unlike other forms of cooking, requires precision. So we'll take our time here, making sure we have just the right amount of each. This is not the time for guesstimates or eyeballing. Use measuring cups or a kitchen scale for accuracy. Now, let's take a moment to talk about butter. For our recipe, we want it cold, straight from the fridge. We're going to cube it into small pieces, which will then be rubbed into our flour mixture later on. This technique helps to create a wonderfully flaky, light texture in our cobbler topping. And let's not forget about our leavening agents, baking powder and baking soda. They may seem like minor players in our recipe, but they're crucial for giving our cobbler that perfect rise. Measure them out with care, remembering that a little goes a long way. Finally, we come to the sugar for our strawberry filling. We don't want it too sweet, just enough to enhance the natural sweetness of our strawberries. Again, precision is key, so measure carefully. Now take a moment to admire your handiwork. You've cleaned, chopped, measured, and prepared all your ingredients with care. Your kitchen counter should be a symphony of color and texture, from the vibrant red strawberries to the snowy white flour and sugar, and the golden cubes of butter. With all the ingredients ready, we can start cooking. Now comes the fun part, the cooking process. We're going to kick off this culinary adventure by giving our strawberries a sweet makeover. Take your fresh, juicy strawberries and sprinkle them generously with sugar. This will not only sweeten the berries, but also draw out their delightful natural juices, which will add a lovely depth of flavor to your cobbler. Once the strawberries are well coated in sugar, it's time to let them briefly mingle and macerate. This process allows the sugar to penetrate the strawberries, creating a deliciously sweet and juicy mixture. While our strawberries are getting to know each other better, let's move on to the next step. Next up, we're going to prepare the baking dish. This is where our cobbler will come to life. Lightly grease your baking dish to ensure our cobbler doesn't stick. Then, arrange your sugared strawberries evenly across the bottom. The strawberries will form the base of our cobbler, ready to be covered with our scrumptious batter. Speaking of batter, let's get that ready. In a separate bowl, combine your dry ingredients first. Whisk together your flour, sugar, and a pinch of salt. This forms the backbone of our cobbler topping. In another bowl, mix together your wet ingredients, the melted butter and milk. Slowly pour the wet ingredients into the dry, stirring as you go, until you have a smooth, pourable batter. Now, pour this batter over your arranged strawberries. Make sure to spread it evenly, covering the strawberries completely. This batter will bake into a golden, fluffy topping that perfectly complements the juicy, sweet strawberries beneath. And that's the first part of our cooking process. We've turned our strawberries into a sugary delight, prepared our baking dish, and made our cobbler batter. With the first part done, let's proceed to the next step. Scene script. Ready for the next step? We're at the exciting part of our culinary journey. We've prepped our strawberries and whipped up a delightful batter. Now it's time to assemble our strawberry cobbler. First, let's retrieve our baking dish filled with our macerated strawberries. They've been sitting pretty, releasing their sweet, tangy juices, just begging to be topped with the batter. Next, take a spoonful of your batter and dollop it over the strawberries. There's no need for perfection here. The beauty of a cobbler lies in its rustic charm. Continue spooning the batter over the strawberries, leaving some small gaps in between. These gaps will allow the strawberry juices to bubble up during baking, creating that iconic cobbler look. Once you've covered the strawberries with dollops of batter, it's time to sprinkle some sugar over the top. This will create a lovely sweet crust as the cobbler bakes. Just a light dusting will do. Remember, our strawberries and batter are already sweet, so we don't want to overdo it. And now, for the moment of truth. Carefully place your baking dish into a preheated oven. The heat will work its magic, turning our simple ingredients into a delicious, bubbling strawberry cobbler. Baking time can vary based on your oven, but generally you'll want to bake the cobbler for about 45 minutes to an hour. You'll know it's done when the top is golden brown and the strawberries are bubbling with delight. During this time, resist the temptation to open the oven door. Consistent heat is essential for the cobbler to bake properly, so sit back, relax, and let the aroma of baking strawberries and sugar fill your kitchen. There's something so comforting about the smell of a cobbler in the oven, isn't there? It's like a warm, edible hug. The cobbler is now baking in the oven. Let's wait for it to finish. While the cobbler is baking, let's prepare some finishing touches. Nothing complements a warm, freshly baked strawberry cobbler better than a dollop of whipped cream or a scoop of ice cream, melting slowly into the crumbly sweet goodness. It's an easy and delightful pairing, a harmony of tastes that truly brightens the dessert experience. Let's start with the whipped cream. All you need is heavy cream, a sweetener of your choice, and a whisk or a mixer. Pour the cream into a bowl, add your sweetener, and whisk it until it forms soft peaks. The key is to stop at the right time. You want it to be fluffy and light, not overly stiff. Next, let's talk about ice cream. Vanilla ice cream is a classic choice that pairs well with the fruity flavor of the strawberry cobbler. Its creamy sweetness will provide a cooling contrast to the warm cobbler. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, try flavors like strawberry or even coconut for a tropical twist. But don't limit yourself to whipped cream or ice cream. Consider other accompaniments that could add a unique spin to your dessert. How about a drizzle of chocolate sauce? Or a sprinkle of toasted nuts for an added crunch? Or maybe even a dollop of tangy Greek yogurt to balance out the sweetness? The possibilities are endless. Now, all that's left is to wait for the cobbler to finish baking. And there we have it, our delicious strawberry cobbler. Just look at that golden crust, bubbling with the sweetness of strawberries. It's a sight that promises a mouthful of delight, a tantalizing tease of the taste to come. Straight from the oven, the aroma of fresh strawberries melding with the buttery pastry fills the air, a scent that is sure to make your mouth water. It's a sensory experience that goes beyond the visual. It's a celebration of the culinary arts. Now let's not forget the accompaniments. A dollop of whipped cream, a drizzle of honey, a sprinkle of powdered sugar, or perhaps a scoop of ice cream. Each addition not only enhances the taste but also adds a visual appeal, making your strawberry cobbler not just a dessert but a work of art. So what are you waiting for? Grab a spoon and dive into the scrumptious goodness of your homemade creation. Enjoy your homemade, delicious strawberry cobbler. Happy baking!